It happens to almost everyone. You're staring at the ceiling in the middle of the night, your eyes snap open, and a terrifyingly clear thought arrives. Mortality does not take meeting requests. You have an end date, and you will eventually let down everyone you love. We normally manage this dread by performing safety. We spend our days acting as though our existence is a permanent, unbreakable fixture in the universe, hiding the structural fragility of the platform. To understand why that performance is so exhausting, we have to look at the fine print of our biological contract. We have to treat human life as a corporate service-level agreement. Welcome to existence as a service. System logs categorize this existential dread as a high-priority background process. It is a load-bearing member of the system kernel, auditing the value of meaning against the inevitable void of the premium plan. The architect of this specific software glitch was René Descartes. In 1619, he performed a high-level system audit of reality and concluded, "I think, therefore I am." That single line of code turned being into a downstream dependency of the thinking module. In enterprise software, any service that is not strictly necessary is slated for decommissioning. Because existence is architected as a consequence of thinking, a dependency that can technically be turned off, the human platform remains inherently cancelable. We end up like Sisyphus, endlessly pushing a cognitive boulder just to keep our subscription active. We exhaust our processing power simply trying to verify that we are still here. This creates a brutal paradox for human relationships. Our biological platforms have a hard stop. Since the hardware is guaranteed to hit an unannounced end-of-life date, it is mathematically impossible to promise absolute reliability to another person. Picture a customs desk of mortality. Everyone has to pass through it, and everyone wants a ticket stamped with absolute certainty. But the system status for knowing is permanently offline. The only qualified witnesses to death are unavailable for comment. At this desk, the only honest ticket available is the poet's hedge. It is a wager that accepts the sheer uncertainty of the subscription, acknowledging that we have no data on what happens when the contract terminates. The existence as a service contract contains a relational disclosure document, and its core liability clause is blunt. Don't trust me with what you can't lose. Admitting upfront that we will inevitably fail each other creates an environment of radical honesty. It replaces the fantasy of constancy with a measured risk, allowing partners to say, "I know you can fail me, and I am still here." Naming the edge of the cliff together creates the only safety the platform actually allows. When both users relinquish the role of the perfect partner, the atmosphere of performance thins. Because the Descartes model is so isolating, users eventually filed a formal counterproposal through the Reach Out Foundation Academy. Their document accepts every actuarial fact of the SLA, but argues that the individual contract is the wrong frame for the service. They correct the dependency graph. The physical body is the true base platform, and it has no upstream dependencies. It breathes and metabolizes whether the thinking module is active or not. That body plugs into a physical network. It exists inside a shared space, a room, that operates entirely independently of the individual cognitive load. Our hardware is designed to anchor into shared physical spaces. We do not have to exist as isolated, thought-dependent programs when we have access to a room. This enables a third option beyond the free and premium plans, the peer tier. In this state, existential dread is demoted to a background process that identifies what matters without requiring a metaphysical audit. The peer tier activates when two users share a room, and neither is trying to sell, fix, or secure the other's uptime. One person's 3 a.m. awareness can be held by another person's ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Clause 4 of the counterproposal shifts the burden of reliability. It moves the requirement for uptime away from the fragile individuals and onto the physical container of the room itself. This shared reliability is temporary. It is guaranteed for the weight of this specific chair, the warmth of this light, and the duration of this single breath. You are not required to think your way into existence or perform absolute certainty. Safety is found when the door is propped open, the tea is on, and two people simply sit together for as long as the room lasts.